我现在可以贴到文面了，贴皮面了，手把来贴。
So it's my sincere pleasure to welcome a very special guest today who really needs no introduction. I'm Ryan Turnbull, the candidate for Whitby. And as I was saying, my wonderful guest here, it needs no introduction. Our Prime Minister has gotten us through one of the worst crises in about 100 years, and he has done a remarkable job of centering all of our work on the health and safety of Canadians. He's reminded us time and time again that perfection is the enemy of the good, and I truly believe in his leadership, that he's gotten us through because we've adapted our approach to COVID-19 every step of the way and let science lead us through this, and that is remarkable. I also want to say something else. The Prime Minister often says this, and I really truly believe in this statement, that better is always possible. I think ambition is something that is so prevalent within the Liberal Party. We have this desire for change and to make a better future, and that's really what makes us progressives. And the Prime Minister reminds us of that all the time, and you can just think about how many firsts he's led his country through. We have the first Minister of Finance that's a woman in this country. We have the first Governor General, the Indigenous Governor General in this country. We have the first National Housing Strategy for housing affordability and end chronic homelessness. We have the first anti-racism secretary that this country has ever had. The list of firsts racks up so high. Our Prime Minister is responsible for that leadership. He pushes our caucus every step of the way to do the best that we can possibly do for this country. And that's why we should vote Liberal, because the Liberal Party really believes in that future that we all create together. So without further ado, everyone, I'll hand it over to our leader, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the welcome here today. It is such a pleasure to be here in Sherlock. Thank you for the hard work you're doing, Ryan, and thank you everyone for welcoming us here. This is a really important time. We have been through, as a country, extraordinarily difficult and unique past year and a half. And what we've seen throughout this pandemic is people stepping up for each other. Canadians being there for each other, neighbors being there for neighbors, people supporting our frontline health workers, our frontline grocery store workers. We know how important it's been for us to pull together. And you know what? Canadians did so extraordinarily well at being there for each other that even with all the tragedies we've faced, even with all the hardship and sacrifices we've made, Canada is making it through this pandemic better than most other countries around the world. We didn't have the kinds of divisions, particularly early on, that we see in other countries. Canadians stepped up with premiers across the country, even some of the ones we didn't agree with all the time. We were able to work together because we put people first. We put science first. And we listened to each other, and that has been unbelievably important. Even as we, made tremendous sacrifices, we were there. And every day, when I came out front of my house and talked to people who were scared and worried, and talked about how we were going to be there for them, I made a promise to you that we would have your backs, and that's what we did. Because having your back wasn't just something that was nice to do or reassuring to do, although it certainly was that. It was also the best way for us to get through these terrible challenges. For people to know that there were going to be supports when they had to stay home for work. For small businesses to know that it would be okay if they had to shut down for a while because we were there with supports. Wasn't just about being there for each other. It was about knowing that that would allow people to follow public health guidelines across the country, that would allow us to minimize the impact of the pandemic that we were facing. But more than that, it wasn't just about dealing with the health crisis. It was about dealing with the economic crisis as well. That because we were there to support everyone, getting the businesses back open was just a matter of turning back on the lights and calling the workers back rather than having to rebuild from scratch. And that has allowed for a faster recovery in Canada than just about anywhere else in the world. We have now recovered 95% of all the jobs lost. For context, the United States, which is doing well, has only recovered about 76% of those jobs. But we're now in a really, really important moment. Even as almost 80% of Canadians have done the right thing and gotten themselves vaccinated, we have to finish this pandemic for good. And that means continuing to trust in science, and it means stepping up our leadership on vaccines. That's why we're in this election right now. Because the decisions the government takes to end this pandemic now and to build our economy for the better into the coming years, to build opportunities for families, to build things like childcare and better housing, and also stand in the fight against climate change, is going to take big decisions that will be made now and in the months to come. Not a year from now, not 2 years from now, but now. And Canadians deserve to have their say. Un choix très, très clair. Est-ce qu'on va en finir avec cette pandémie pour de bon, en s'assurant que les gens soient vaccinés, en reconnaissant les travaux et les sacrifices qu'ont fait tant de gens pour passer à travers, ou est-ce qu'on recule en arrière? We say we need to keep strong and focused on how we get through this. That means making sure that even as people have done the right things and gotten themselves vaccinated, we're minimizing the risk going forward. So no, if you get on a plane or a train, you shouldn't have to worry that you or your kid who's not vaccinated yet is sitting beside someone who's unvaccinated. We need to make sure in workplaces that say, no, if you want to work here, you need to be vaccinated, that we support them and protect them. And we need to work with provinces across the country to bring in vaccine mandates to make sure that everyone knows that the way through this is to get vaccinated. The problem, though, is Erin O'Toole and the Conservatives can't say that. Because they keep talking about how important it is to build back our economy, to recover our economy, but they don't seem to understand that we don't get to build back business as usual unless we finish with this pandemic. And the only way to finish with this pandemic is to make sure everyone gets vaccinated. And here we see a pattern regularly with Mr. O'Toole. He will say, oh yes, I think people should get vaccinated. He says he wants to convince 90% of Canadians to get vaccinated in the coming months. The problem with that is he can't even convince his own candidates to get vaccinated to 90%. And we see that time and time again. He's made big promises around investing in healthcare. And what do we see? Pennies over the next few years. All the healthcare money would arrive 7 or 8 years from now. How can anyone have gone through this pandemic we've seen and think, no, we don't need to invest anymore in healthcare? That's why we're proposing $25 billion over the next 5 years for things like mental health care, for more family doctors, for supports for our seniors, and to end the backlog on surgeries that have accumulated.
Yes.
We need to make the right choice going forward. Part of that right choice is understanding that Canada is a country not weakened by its differences, but strengthened by them. And that's why I'm so happy to be here with the diverse Caribbean and African community to say that we will always stand beside you in the fight against anti-Black racism, against systemic discrimination, against unconscious bias. We move forward to emphasize that no one should be victims of hatred or discrimination or racism. We've invested in Black entrepreneurship strategy, historic hundreds of millions of dollars investment, hundreds of millions of dollars investments for a community foundation for Black-owned, Black-led community organizations. These are the things that we need to do to make sure that we are recognizing that this pandemic that hit everyone hit some communities harder than others. And racialized communities, vulnerable communities in this country got hit harder. And that's why we will continue to stand up for you, stand alongside you, and build a better future for everyone. The choice we're facing is very, very clear. Mr. O'Toole wants to take Canada back, and I think Canadians know the only way to move is to move forward. Let's do a group at home. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, put it together for the man that was born for such a time as this to be the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau! Please remain seated, everybody. Everybody remain seated. Just sit back. Everybody, I want you to sit back on your seats. Just sit back quietly because it's coming around. Sit down, everybody. Everybody sit down, please. Please. Just sit there. Just sit there, everybody. When we're talking about a man that was born for such a time as this, there are so many people that are born by accident. Some people are born on purpose. We believe that Justin Trudeau was born on purpose for the man to take us through these difficult times and to keep us progressing from one level to another level, and that is the Liberal Party that will do that for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are here experiencing history in the happening. Justin Trudeau in Winnipeg, Justin Trudeau in Saloma restaurant, Justin Trudeau with us here together. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Take the news out of this place and take it to your homes, take it to your neighbors, and let them vote the Liberal and vote Justin Trudeau for the next Prime Minister as he continues to realize the prosperity in power for Canadians.
Hi. I'm doing so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
In a time like this, everybody's a little bit thinking whether I'm going to go forward or go backwards. And I can tell you right now, put your hearts together, hold your hearts, begin to rejoice, and begin to shout for victory, because I can guarantee you, when it's all said and done, victory belongs to the Liberal Party!
Okay, there's a lot of people taking pictures that are not part of the media. One thing
I've been a Liberal for the past few years. There is something that I have come to recognize. The Liberal Party, they never negotiate. The Liberal Party, they don't compromise. The Liberal Party stands for progress. They stand for strength of the people, unity of the people. The Liberal Party is for progress of everybody, not for a chosen few or some frozen chosen. The Liberal Party is a party that unites all of us and makes us one so we can look in the same direction together to the progress that belongs to everyone in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, here you are experiencing history once again. Justin Trudeau in Wembley in Shaloma Restaurant. My name is John Chukwu and I'm here moderating this today.
All right. Thank you so much. Over here. Yeah. Move down. Let's go. Move down. All right, let's back up. Come on. There's too many people now. Hey guys, thank you. Over this side here. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Okay, come on, guys.
Go.
You need to be able to walk through, okay?
All right, let's back it up. Thank you, ma'am. Please. He's going to come to you over there too.
You want to put it?
Yeah, okay, good. OK, ici, c'est ces gens-là ici, il va falloir qu'ils leur parlent.
You going from your stand?
Back it up. Gary. Can you just back up, please? Because we want him to come here, so please. Just back up, please.
Where's the camera?
Okay, let's all back up, please. Please, over there. I know that. Okay, as soon as you're done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much.
Watch is coming down. Sir. No, back here, Sam. Back here, just stand over here. We need a pass.
That's what I'm
Yes.
Here we go, guys.
Okay. All right, let's back up. Excuse me.
When he was elected as leader the first time in convention, so he
You have to go around. There you go. Well, he's coming to you. Let's go. You all stay there. It's going to come to you. Okay? He's coming.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Prime Minister.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
Good luck.
You want a photo guy in here?
I'm live.
Huh?
I'm live.
Huh?
I'm live. Oh, no. Oh, dear.
Don't worry, I will. I will.
Yes, now that's now the meeting will start.
Okay, Johnny.
Oh, no, yeah, can you?
If you need any man, I say, I'll do my master.
Thank you very much.
I'm live, also. I'm live.
Okay, so then that's good.
I'm live.
Okay, that's good.
No, you'll be on YouTube right away.
Yes, yeah, right away. It's right.
Right away?
Yes.
Awesome.
What I'm talking here, Kenny. Yeah. I'm live.
Anyway, to pick up the listing, but I think it's good to know my time.
Yes. That's natural.
Yeah.
Oh, you got my phone.
I love it! Wow! Yo, we captured him, man. My goodness. I know. Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, guys, it has been a very eventful day, and we were just here with the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, and it's been awesome. He's over there, he's leaving right now, and this is the courtesy of our man here. Thank you so much for doing a great job. He's the one that invited me, and he's doing a lot of pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm able back home to learn from this.
Yes, yes.
We learn from this. We're alive. Want me to end it? Harry! That's it now. What's the okay. Our video, about a picture, but at least that's a tag well, that's a tag.
No problem. I'm an I got them no meeting. If I
Yeah. I hope that's a tag.
Oh, I doubt it.
More after pan.
It's
okay. It's okay.
all right. You guys look great.
Hold on,
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm blind.
That's the white one of our energy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful.
That's why that's white. Okay. Thank you guys. Okay.
Hard work.
Thank you, sir.
That's my MP. Good. What is that? I didn't get you in the picture. Oh, you're tired. Okay. Okay. All right. Che Baban. Okay. Sorry.